I have got a special edition of the Red Chair Show just for you. We're going to cover today, this whole episode, Shanghai Disneyland. Shanghai Disneyland opened this week, officially opened. No, I am not reporting live from Shanghai Disneyland. However, I am still reporting live from my garage. What I'm going to do here is give you the lowdown, the facts and figures of Shanghai Disneyland. Shanghai Disneyland is located in Pudong, Shanghai. It is a joint venture between the Walt Disney World Company and the Shanghai Shendi Group. The history of the resort goes back as far as 1999, when president of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger, was scouting out the location, and they came across Pudong, Shanghai. After several years of negotiations, the Walt Disney Company and the Chinese government came to an agreement in November of 2009. The resort was officially announced in 2010, November 2010, a year later. A year after that, April 8th to be exact, 2011, construction of the resort began. The opening date at the time was set to be late 2015, but there was a couple times where they pushed the opening date back to June 16th, 2015. The park had its first soft opening on May 7th, 2016. It's estimated that the park cost $5.5 billion to make. That's billion with a B, not an M, billion. As for the resort itself, it's almost 1,000 acres, making it 3 times the size of Hong Kong Disneyland. It consists of the park, an entertainment district called Disneytown, which is sort of, I guess it's comparable to Downtown Disney in Anaheim and the old Downtown Disney / brand new Disney Springs in Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. There's also 2 hotels at the resort, the Shanghai Disneyland Hotel, that's got 400 rooms, and the Toy Story Hotel, Toy Story themed, obviously, that has 800 rooms. There's plans for 2 additional theme parks for the resort. As for Shanghai Disneyland itself, it's a bit different than all the other Disneylands and the Magic Kingdom in Florida. One of the big differences, there is no surrounding train. There's no steam train that goes around the park. It's also not centrally spoked, where there's a castle in the middle of the park and the lands kind of go around like a wheel. Instead of the centrally focused castle, we have something that's called the Gardens of Imagination. That's at the center of the park. It's 11 acres big. It features the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac. There are a couple rides there, Dumbo's there, the Fantasia Carousel, and there's also a meet and greet of Marvel superheroes. The lands are also a bit different at Shanghai Disneyland. There's no Frontierland at all. Main Street USA and Adventureland, they're still there in spirit. Instead of Main Street USA, they call it Mickey Ave, and that's obviously inspired by Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and Donald. There's an arcade on site, and that Mickey Ave has the largest gift shop, which is very important. One of my favorite things about any Disney park is the gift shop. As for Adventure Isle, well, that's home to Roaring Rapids and a ride called Soaring Over the Horizon, which sounds to be a bit like the soaring rides at Epcot and at California Adventure. Then there's Fantasyland. Fantasyland is the largest land in Shanghai Disneyland. That's where the castle is located, which sort of makes sense. The castle's name is a little different than all the other parks. It's called Enchanted Storybook Castle. It is the biggest castle in any of the Disneyland parks. It is home to the Royal Banquet Hall restaurant. There's a boat ride that is underneath the castle. It's called Voyage to the Crystal Grotto. It features clips from movies like Mulan, The Little Mermaid, Tangled, and Beauty and the Beast. Now, as for Fantasyland itself, there are a bunch of rides that are familiar. The Seven Dwarfs Mine Ride, Peter Pan's Flight, which is a classic, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and there's even an Alice in Wonderland themed hedge maze. Then there's the land called Treasure Cove. It's themed as an 18th century Spanish town located, I bet you can't guess where. Right, the Caribbean. That is where the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is located. This particular version of the Pirates is called Pirates of the Caribbean Battle for the Sunken Treasure. Again, it's a water-based ride just like the other ones. This one is more based on the movies. There's also a couple other attractions in Treasure Cove. There's a stunt show and a canoe ride. Then there's Tomorrowland. No Disneyland anywhere would be complete without Tomorrowland. But just like the rest of the park, it's a little bit different. There's no Space Mountain. But instead of Space Mountain, they've got a wicked cool Tron ride that's called Tron Light Cycle Power Run. There's also a couple other things that'll probably sound familiar. There's Star Wars Launch Bay. There's Stitch's Encounter, which it takes a lot of heat, but I'm a fan of that. And Buzz Lightyear's Planet Rescue, which sounds like a variation of the dark ride that's in all the other parks. And there's a jetpack ride there as well. And there it is. There is your little taste of the Shanghai Disneyland Resort that probably neither one of us is ever going to step foot in.